Last game that we want to talk about in depth here. We're going to talk about a couple more aside from this, but UCLA playing LSU. Last week we were critical about LSU in that win. Whether they should have. I don't want to say whether they should have won the game or not because you play the game and that's the outcome. But there was some mishaps that they had that I'm sure that they're looking back at that they didn't want to happen. Now they get UCLA. They're heavily favored, 24-point favorites. This gives them that opportunity to clean up some of what they maybe didn't do great against South Carolina. UCLA not coming in looking super solid, losing their intro to the Big Ten against Indiana. How are you feeling against in this game, UCLA and LSU?
I'm feeling really good. I feel really good for LSU. I feel like they feel extremely. I feel like they've probably learned what went well last game, and they're building on it. They have a 1-2 punch with Garrett Nussmeier, top 2 in the SEC in touchdowns, and you hope to see a repeat performance from Caden Durham like you saw last week. I think I would kind of just eliminate all of the bad things that was a poor part of that game, and remember we won. Mm-hmm. We still got 16 next to our number. We have an inferior opponent coming to our home stadium, ideally, and this is probably the second worst opponent we've played since Nicholls State. So, SC is respectable, USC is good. So this should be a good opportunity for them to clean up and continue to grow upon what we've seen on the offensive side. The defensive side, Ethan Garbers could be potentially provide some competition, but he's only got 1 touchdown in the season thus far. So that this should be a good opportunity for us to see what improvements have been made on the defensive side if LSU wants to transcend to where they want to get to in terms of like a championship level.
Yeah, and the team is gritty. It's an LSU team that is gritty. When you win the game coming from behind, I'll give them their flowers, give them their props. That takes a lot to come back and win. In the face of it all, they had to go against that backup quarterback, but they put a lot of pressure there, forced some mistakes, and put their team in position to win. Against UCLA, they're struggling to score. They're last in points per game in Power 4 ball right now. Like they're 42-13 against Indiana last week, 16-13 in Hawaii. They're last in rushing yards per game in the Big Ten, only 83.5. So they're struggling to move the ball offensively and score. LSU's defense is good. Like they gave up some plays to South Carolina, some big chunk plays came out of it, but they're solid and they're getting more footing by the week. I think that UCLA is going to have a tough time with this. Where LSU is going to be solid in this is putting pressure on the quarterback. Ethan Garbers, he's not very good under pressure. He's been pressured on 40% of his dropbacks right now from a poor O-line, and he's thrown 3 picks, no touchdowns, and below 50% completion when that pressure is on him. He's also their leading rusher. LSU is going to make a bad day for him. They're going to get guys behind the offensive line, and I think he's going to be on his back a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely been some growing pains for Ethan Garbers, and he is their leading rusher. It's quite the difference from what you saw with Dante Moore last year, a quarterback who transferred over to Oregon to back up, the quarterback there. But for UCLA, this is not the game you want to see on the schedule if you're trying to bounce back and get into rhythm. LSU is coming in hungry. I feel like the story here for me is more so, how much do the Tigers show us in this game to show us where they are and how this season is going to go. I think it's less about UCLA. If this game is a close game going into the fourth quarter, we will be having similar discussions to what we had this week about the coaching and, what type of team this is. But if LSU comes out and takes care of business, get up to a 24-10 lead or 21-10 lead, that'll show me that this team is, able to take care of opponents where they're not as competitive with them.
Yeah. I'm looking to see that jump from LSU, and I want to highlight one player in particular from LSU that I'm still looking to see be that all-star for them, and that's Harold Perkins Jr. Like we know what he's done. The freshman, former freshman All-American for the SEC. Came in as a linebacker. They've moved him, or they came in as an edge. They moved him into the box. They've moved him all around the field this year. They don't really know how to effectively use him, and they're trying to make him more, a box linebacker. 121 snaps in the box, 24 on the line, and 24 in slot coverage. He's getting better, and he put a lot of pressure on South Carolina last week, shutting down the run. When you have a quarterback like UCLA, who is their leading rusher, who struggles under pressure, I want to see a guy like Harold Perkins move around and shut it down. Don't let him get away on scrambles. Don't let him get away on designed runs. Have some creative blitz packages for him where he can get to the quarterback. I want to see a big game from Harold Perkins. That's where I'm looking for LSU this week.
Yeah, and that's an amazing spot to look. I mean, all offseason, everyone asks, like, are you going to have your hand in the dirt more? Do you like playing on the ground? Do you like playing in the air? And we'll be excited to see what Brian Baker can do on the defensive side with him spying on Ethan Garber's in team. So it'll be a fun one for sure.
Yeah. Last thing for LSU, I do want to mention. You mentioned Caden Durham. They're finding that run game. To me, for LSU, I want to see the run. I want to see the defensively. I want to see them getting pressure on the quarterback. Offensively, I want to see continued progression in the running game. If they can do that, then they're going to look solid. We know that Nussmeier can pass the ball, although he makes a couple mistakes. The DBs for UCLA are extremely suspect. Kyron Lacey is going to be thrown to Anderson. Like, look, I'm saying, like, I'm expecting a big game from Nussmeier, but I want to see them continue to run the ball. Don't get up big and lose identity of your game. Take what they're giving you. So play like you know how, string together some varied drives. For UCLA, shut down that running game, force Nussmeier to pass consistently. We've seen him make those mistakes, so try to force a couple of those. It's going to be a tough game for UCLA either way, 24-point dogs. I could see UCLA covering here, so I like LSU 34-13.
I like that prediction. I also believe that UCLA's cornerbacks are suspect. Kyron Lacey's going to get his. He's had a touchdown at least in 2 of the last 3 games. Let's leave the gun celebration at home. But I would expect this game to be well handled by LSU. I'm going to say 31-10 down in Death Valley.
All right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to all these games, and there's some other ones too that we're going to be discussing a little later. And good week for the SEC. We're opening up SEC ball. More and more teams are playing each other. We got 4 this week, like I mentioned earlier. Good out of conference schedule, so a lot of fun football for week 4.
Week will be fun. Week 4 is going to be so fun. I'm excited to get the quad box up again. It hasn't gotten old yet. It won't get old. This is only September. In college basketball, they say this is March for March Madness, but this is only September. Just wait till October and November. But right now, week 4, we got some incredible games. Missouri, what do you got for us? LSU, you've taken that jump. Auburn, Arkansas. Where do y'all lie in the SEC playing field? Florida, Mississippi State, like who is going to bounce back for the next game this season? And then all the other games, Bowling Green and Texas A&M. How's the quarterback position going to look for Texas A&M? Ole Miss continue to keep it rolling against Georgia Southern. Kentucky, you played your best game of the season in a loss, which you got against Ohio. So many great games that we're going to see this weekend, and it'll be capped off with Oklahoma and Tennessee in the evening.
Yeah. So let us know how you're feeling about your team. If we talk down on your team, let us know. If we hyped up your team, let us know. Let us know what else you want to hear. We're going to go after these games and break them down, break down the scores and what actually happened in them. So catch us in the next one for that.
Until next time, let us know what you think. This is a community. Let's talk college football. And until next time, again, thank you for tuning in. This is the new SEC podcast.